Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Daniel. I'm a linguist by passion and profession, and today I'm going to talk about a language that you've probably never heard of before. Today's language is Wagiman, or how it's called in the language itself, Wagiman Country. This is the first lesson, and I'm going to talk about subject pronouns. However, before I start with this lesson, I would like to give you a short introduction about the language itself. Wagiman is a language spoken in the Northern Territory of Australia. The traditional Wagiman country is associated with the Middle Daly River area. This is between Darwin and Katherine in the top end of Australia. The main settlement of the Wagiman people today is the small mining town Pine Creek. Unfortunately, the speaker number of Wagiman is very low. In fact, there are only two remaining native speakers, an old lady and an old man. Both of them in their 70s. This means that without any effort of language revitalization, Wagiman will become extinct within the next generation. Therefore, it is also important to document what we already know about the language, and that we continue documenting the language as long as it's alive. We do not know much about the linguistic history of the Australian languages before the arrival of the Europeans, because the Aboriginal people practice oral tradition and they have never used a writing system to write down their traditional knowledge. Therefore, we do not find any stone inscriptions or ancient letters as in the European or Asian languages. We have to rely on the linguistic reconstruction in order to determine which languages belong together and which form a language family and which don't. Wagiman is very special among the indigenous languages of Australia. Usually, the Australian languages are grouped into the Pamanyungan language family and the non-Pamanyungan language families. There are quite a few non-Pamanyungan language families in the north of Australia, and then there is one big group called Pamanyungan that covers about 90% of the Australian mainland. Wagiman is a non-Pamanyungan language. However, the exact relationship between Wagiman and the other languages around is still a matter of research. We can therefore say that Wagiman is a language isolate within the Australian language family. Now let me start with the first lesson about the subject pronouns. In order to talk about yourself or the people around you, you often need to use some pronouns. Wagiman also has a lot of pronouns, actually a lot more than English, but we want to focus on a few pronouns, and later I will show you the table of all pronouns. Now let's start. The pronoun for the first person, for I, in Wagiman is ngagun. The pronoun for you, a single person, is ngigun. And the pronoun for he, she, or it, so the third person, is ma'an or ga'an. The difference here is that if a person is near you, you use ma'an. If a person is further away, or you can't see the person, you use ga'an. Note that the H here is like a glottal stop. So you basically say ma'an or ga'an, but in fast speech it will always be ma'an, ga'an. Let's start with a simple sentence. So if you want to say, I am, and then you basically can fill in your name, the structure in Wagiman looks like this. Ngagun, blah blah blah, ngayu. So we do this with a name now. For example, if I want to talk about myself, I can say, Ngagun Daniel ngayu, I am Daniel. You can see the structure in Wagiman is a bit different from English. You start with a pronoun, then you put the name there, and the word I am is at the end. Technically, you don't even need to say the word ngagun, because ngayu itself already means I am. But for the purpose of this lesson, of course we will use ngagun here. So, I am Daniel, ngagun Daniel ngayu. Now let's talk about the second person. If you want to ask someone about their name, and you actually think, maybe I already know his name, you could say something like, Ngigun John Giu? Are you John? Ngigun John Giu? Are you John? It's pretty easy, right? It's pretty much the same structure as before, just with a question intonation at the end. A bit different from English. In English you have to switch the pronoun and the verb. In Wagiman you just keep the structure. Ngigun John Giu? Are you John? If you want to ask, is this Mary? In Wagiman you would say, Ma'an Mary Gayu? Ma'an Mary Gayu? Is this Mary? Note that the verb has changed again. So every time you change the person, the verb will also change. But we haven't learned about the verbs yet, and the verbs will be another lesson. Now we want to talk about where we come from. So for example, if I want to say, I come from, you use the structure ngagun, then you insert the place name, then you have an ablative suffix, gunda, we will talk about that later, and the verb ngadinya. Note that this is actually a past verb, so what you're actually saying is, I have come from, or I was coming from, or I just came from. So we can insert a place name here. For example, for myself, I would choose Germany because that's where I'm from. So I can say, Ngagun Germany gunda ngadinya. I come from Germany. Ngagun Germany gunda ngadinya. I come from Germany. Now we try to ask another person where they are from. For example, like this. Ngigun England gunda ngidinya? Do you come from England? Ngigun England gunda ngidinya? Do you come from England? Note that in English you have to use this very complicated construction, do you come? While in Wagiman, you simply use the same structure as before, just with a question intonation at the end. Ngigun England gunda ngidinya? Now we want to know how to say, where do you come from? The structure is exactly the same as before, but now we don't use a place name, but we use the question word, baria, where. So we would simply ask, Ngigun baria gunda ngidinya? Where do you come from? Ngigun baria gunda ngidinya? Where do you come from? As you see, the structure is exactly the same, and we have just exchanged the place name with a question word. Now the answer could be, Ngagun Germany gunda ngadinya. You've learned this already. Ngagun Germany gunda ngadinya. I come from Germany. If you want to talk about another country, this is pretty easy because all country names are just like English. However, some country names probably need some adjustment to the language. Because there is no F and S in Wagiman, it's a bit difficult to say France. So what you would do is you exchange the F with a P sound, and because there is no P at the beginning, you have a B sound, and the S is exchanged by J. So if you want to say she or he comes from France, you would say Man branch gundadinya. Of course, Wagiman also has pronouns for the plural. For example, ngego is we. Ngogo is you, but plural, so a lot of you, you all, you guys. Maigoden and Gaigoden is for they. Note that here again we have a difference between people that are near us, like Maigoden, and people who are further away or not visible, Gaigoden. They. In English we don't make this distinction, but in Wagiman it's essential. Let's look at this example. If you want to say, we are good, you say, Ngego maman giyungana. Note that this verb is different again, but we will not talk about verbs in this lesson. we want to concentrate on the subject pronouns. So here the subject pronoun is 𝗟𝗂, we are good. 𝗟𝗂 maman giyungana. You can also use the same structure to ask other people. For example, 𝗟𝗂 maman guyu, 𝗟𝗂 maman guyu. Are you all good? And if you want to talk about people you can see, people who are near you, you can say 𝗪𝗴𝗶𝗺 maman 𝗂𝗶𝘃𝗏. 𝗪𝗴𝗶 maman 𝗂𝗶𝘃𝗏. They are good. Technically, we have already covered all pronouns that we have in English, but Wagiman has more pronouns. Wagiman also has pronouns for the dual. The dual is used if you talk about two people. For example, if you want to say something about yourself and the addressee, like I and you, or in English, normally we use we, you would say 𝗟𝗏𝗏 in Wagiman. If you want to talk about yourself and another person, then you use another word in Wagiman, 𝗟𝗂𝗍𝗂. In English, we would use we in both constructions, but in Wagiman there's a difference. If you address two people at the same time, you use another word. You say 𝗟𝗂𝗍𝗂. Note that the suffix 𝗍𝗂 actually tells you that it's two people, because we've already learned 𝗟𝗂 and 𝗟𝗂 for we and you. You just attach 𝗍𝗂. This is the same for the third person, the two of them. If you talk about two people, you would say 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 or 𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗏. Again, this is very similar to what we've learned already, like he and she, which is ma and gaan, or the plural 𝗪𝗏𝗏, 𝗍𝗂𝗏. And now we have the dual, which is 𝗪𝗏𝗏, 𝗍𝗂𝗏. Now let's make some sentences with the dual pronouns. For example, if you want to say something like we are from America, and you mean that it's the speaker and the addressee, both of them are from America, then you would say 𝗟𝗏𝗏 America gunda gindinya. That means I and you are from America. 𝗟𝗏𝗏 America gunda gindinya. But if you want to say that to someone who is not from America, but you want to refer to yourself and another person, like two people who are from America, but not the addressee, then you use another pronoun. You say 𝗟𝗂𝗍𝗂 America gunda gndinya guju. We, that means I and him or her, are from America. 𝗟𝗂𝗍𝗂 America gunda gndinya guju. If you want to ask two people at the same time where they're from, you would use this structure. 𝗟𝗂𝗍𝗂 Australia gunda ngudinya guju. Are you two from Australia? 𝗟𝗂𝗍𝗂 Australia gunda ngudinya guju. And you can also talk about two other people at the same time. For example, if you want to say the two of them are good, you would say 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 maman 𝗂𝗶𝘃𝗏 guju. 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 maman 𝗂𝗶𝘃𝗏 guju. Now we've already covered all subject pronouns in Wagiman. I want to give you the full list of all subject pronouns that can be used in an intransitive clause. Intransitive clauses are those where there is only one person or one group of people acting, and it's not something like I see you, but I walk, I sleep. In these cases, you use these subject pronouns. But note here in this table that I've given other forms for the third person. So for the third person, there's also 𝗟𝗟𝗏𝗏, and also in the dual third person you have 𝗟𝗂𝗍𝗂, and in the plural third person there's 𝗟𝗂𝗂𝗏. These forms are rarely used. People mainly use ma and gaan, or for the dual 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏, 𝗍𝗂𝗏, or in the plural 𝗪𝗏𝗏, 𝗍𝗂𝗏. Also note that in the dual form there's a difference between the first inclusive and the first exclusive form. So I've tried to explain that before. So if you talk to a person who is included in this conversation, then you use 𝗟𝗏𝗏, I and you. But if you talk about you and another person, but not about the addressee, then you use 𝗟𝗂𝗍𝗂. In the plural, there is no such difference. both for the inclusive and the exclusive form, you use 𝗟𝗂 or 𝗟𝗂𝗶𝗺. Both are fine. Thank you for watching and see you next time for the next lesson in learning minority languages. Don't forget to give me a like and to subscribe to my channel to stay tuned. See ya!